build any stage, tune any guitar, and fix anything. He is a roadie, and by the grace of the metal gods, he wields the power of rock.
We've always had a great response from fans. They seem to be, I don't know why, it's a certain kind of people who like, maybe they like humor in games.
Oh man, don't tell me I've been slaying hot girls this whole time.
So they like the care we put into the characters.
What do you do with a bunch of kids who don't know how to do anything but bang their heads all day long?
You start a revolution, Lars.
The characters are real to us. You know, we write them, or when we animate them, or when we put them in the game, things that happen to them, we treat them like they're people that we know and that we care about. So hopefully people who play the games care about them the same way, and that just turns itself into a great fan response. Entertaining yourself is actually a really important way, I think, to approach writing for something that's supposed to be funny. I mean, you can't approach it too theoretically. Like in theory, the word chicken is funny, so I think I'll use the word chicken in this joke because it will be humorous. You know, if it doesn't, there's some things that are just so embarrassing. It could be a fart joke or something, but you can't help but laugh when you do it, and you're like, well, if I'm laughing, someone else out there might. But every once in a while, that's wrong, and you really just have to test it. I like the open world environment and how it feels like a real place to go. I like that you can control minions and have them at your disposal, and I like that in that setting that somehow humor comes out of that, and when you're playing the game you can even be surprised. Even though I wrote it and someone else programmed it and I know what's going to happen, it still makes me laugh because one of the characters will say something at a certain time when it's unexpected, and just these great moments happen. Jack is great to work with. He really puts a lot of time and effort into getting that character right, and he cares about the game a lot, and he adds a lot of humor to it.
I'm supposed to think you're a nun, but I know you're really some kind of big, ugly demon, so let's have it. Aha! I knew it! Big, ugly demon.
Kind of sexy, though, in a weird way.
And then we have a great animation staff who comes and adds, you know, watch video reference of him and try and capture his facial expressions, and kind of add their own jokes in there and little subtle touches. I met a roadie years ago from Megadeth. He's a roadie who had all these stories about the world of rock and roll and the decadence and the excess of it, but told from the perspective of a foot soldier. You know, the guy who has to come in, make sure everything still works and get the sound perfect and clean up afterwards, you know. And it's still a really glamorous lifestyle, but told from a point of view that people don't usually hear. And also there's a certain air of humility about them because they put on the show, they make the show work, but they don't really get the applause. The applause goes to the rock star, and then after the applause is down, the roadie comes and cleans it all up, puts it in the truck, and takes it to the next town. So that was, I think, a fun character to drop into the most unexpected situation of all, being pulled back in time. Now, George was never really that hands-on. He came by, I think I met him 3 times. I was there 10 years. But he did come by in the early days of Monkey Island. He came by and Ron demoed the game to him. I remember he said you should emphasize the main character more, which is a good piece of advice we got at the time, because the main character at the time was just called Guy. He's like, here's the guy in the game, and he's a pirate, and he wants to be a pirate. And when George found out his name was just Guy, I think he was like, that's a sign that maybe you should develop that character more. And that's good advice for any game. I think a lot of games want to have this kind of blank main character, and they usually use the excuse of, well, we want it to be a blank slate, a tabula rasa. But usually I think that's just an excuse for the fact that it's hard to write a main character. We started at Skywalker Ranch, and they kicked us off because they could only have so many flushing toilets. That was the excuse they gave at the time, was that we can only have so many flushing toilets at the, per the county code, and we have to get rid of somebody, and it's you guys. They didn't like us because we worked crunch mode hours and we were at the ranch day and night, and they wanted us all to leave so they could run around naked. I don't know. Spent the night there?
Yeah.
How did you get to spend the night at the ranch?
Obviously, we're important people.
I never got to spend the night at the ranch.
They put us up
Eurogamer gets everything. I hope Brutal Legend is also Eurogamer's, not just Game of the Year for 1 year. I'm hoping it's so good that they give it 2 years in a row, Game of the Year, Game of 2 years.
We'll create a special award just for the game. It's that good.
It's so big. The first half of it gets Game of the Year this year, next year the second half.
Hell yeah! I mean,
Hold on a second.